Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. In today's video, I will take a look at some videos made from Aston Villa fans ahead of the Paris Saint Germain Aston Villa game to see how confident / arrogant they are coming into this game.
Aston Villa can get through to the semi-finals of the UCL, beating Paris Saint Germain in the quarter-finals. Now,
okay, look, I think every single supporter obviously should be confident in his team. There's reason Aston Villa are into the Champions League quarterfinals. There are some reasons they should be confident, potentially skimming away a victory against PSG, but let's see the reasons then.
for this quarter-final tie, the first leg is away, which is an advantage for us.
Again, I've never really understood this away and home thing. I'm going to be completely honest. As a Paris Saint Germain fan, I've never really rated this home first, second first, away first. Like, we've gotten knocked out at home, away. We've gone through home, away, when it being in the second leg. Honestly, under Luis Enrique, it's actually the opposite. Like, Barca, Sociedad, Liverpool, we went through to the next round when we played the second game away. Against Dortmund last year, we played the second game at home and got knocked out. So I've never really understood that gimmick. That was something like Liverpool fans, when the draw was made, they were like, oh my God, we're going to play the second leg at Anfield. That's a...
Being able to play that second leg at home, it definitely affects the way we play in the first leg. We can be more passive, stronger defensively, and then take it to Villa Park and absolutely smash them. Now will we break it?
Absolutely smash them? You can say play more open, play more attacking league. Oh my God, man. You know, I knew people were arrogant and stupid coming into any Paris Saint Germain Champions League tie, but even after what they saw versus Liverpool, people are still underrating PSG. People are still arrogant like this. It's shameful.
Taking this down with logic, not just pure faith. However, that is still in there because there is still a chance of us winning the UCL. If you didn't watch...
Did he just say there's still a chance to win the UCL? Again, as I said, a fan should be confident in his team, but there's a difference between confidence and delusion. I think Aston Villa fans, Dortmund fans, and Arsenal fans should not believe they can win the Champions League. All the other teams can believe, I think PSG, Barca, and even Madrid can highly believe in it, and then Inter and Bayern can somewhat believe in it. But all due respect, no, Villa should not believe in winning the Champions League. You should believe in making as deep of a run as possible, but...
any of the Liverpool PSG games, wow, PSG are an absolutely insane team, and if you haven't seen them, please go back and watch those games, because I don't know what they were doing in the first few games of the Champions League. I think they finished 15th in the table or something, but they absolutely dunked on Liverpool. The way they play, insane. I'd say they literally play like Aston Villa, but 10 times the pace, which makes you world class, to be honest. Out from the back, but the speed, they move the ball, the transition is crazy. Forward line is insane. Incredible talent, seriously. But that does not mean there is not a chance. One thing they do have is a very young team, which is one of the reasons why they've left Marco Asensio out of their plans and want £12 million for him,
I mean, Asensio leaving wasn't really by his age. If he was good, he would have stayed. He just wasn't good. You were talking about the beginning of the Champions League. I mean, Asensio were playing a lot of those games and he was dog shit for us. He's not really by age.
Which Aston Villa will probably pay. They're building a very young team, kind of like what Arsenal have done, kind of what Chelsea are doing, except...
don't compare us to Arsenal and Chelsea. Not even close, but yeah, in terms of age, yeah, sure.
On a different kind of scale and are way more successful and have way more talented players. Like I said, this does not mean we cannot beat them. We have Marco Asensio, a player who is familiar with the team, with the ground. This is going to boost confidence. Going to want to be eager to prove them wrong. Next up, in goal, we have Emi Martinez, probably the best goalkeeper in the world. The French absolutely hate him. I remember when we played Lille in the quarterfinals, the boos he was getting, and we knocked them out on penalties. That's a familiar story, French people, isn't it? Emi Martinez knocking the French out of a competition in a penalty.
Yeah, I think Emi Martinez is the biggest, like, Aston Villa player, especially when it comes to big games. Like, he can have a huge game. He can have an Alisson first leg-esque game, 100%.
Shootout. Flashbacks to the World Cup. So they're going to be rattled by him. They absolutely despise him. I can tell he's just going to put in a monster performance. We have the likes of Boubacar Kamara, keeps it composed in midfield. Also another French player. Got Axel Disasi as well. We have strength, we have depth, and this international break is going to do wonders for us. We obviously have that Southampton game in the midst of it. But coming into this game with a pretty full squad and a lack of injuries and some warm weather training, going to be great for us. However, one drawdown in this is that PSG complained that they didn't have enough time in between games to rest for the UCL. The European leagues are usually quite good with this. Premier League literally couldn't care less. Couldn't care if 4 of your players have been shot, they still make you play. PSG complained as they're playing Nantes, who originally declined but have now somehow magically changed their mind and accepted the game to be moved.
No, it was because the league said so. Like, if the league says so, they're the ones scheduling the games. If the league, because the league were like, you know what, PSG's complaining is valid, and then Nantes have to do it. They didn't change their mind. They were forced to change.
What on earth could have made them change their mind? However, we can.
Did he do a money gesture? The Nantes game was scheduled before the Champions League games were scheduled. So if we potentially played on Wednesday versus Aston Villa, maybe something would have changed. But yeah, they were like, "Yeah, now we've seen the schedule. Yeah, we'll remove it."
Take it to France, play passively, defend well, because they are a strong attacking team, but also surprise them on our counter-attack. And then we take it to Villa Park, we're very strong at winning and controlling games, just like we have all season in the UCL, and then get into the semi-finals, where we may be playing Real Madrid or Arsenal. If you're a Villa fan or a neutral fan, I want to know down below your opinions on this. They're great signings in the January transfer window. Our front line is amazing. We've even improved our back line, which was a huge weak point. We've got a lot of Frenchies in our squad, which I'm assuming helps. And if you don't already, click that follow button.
Again, as I said, I respect the confidence, but I don't know where this confidence has come from, honestly. From both Aston Villa perspective and then facing PSG perspective. Let's move on to another one. All right, we got a YouTube channel called The Villains. How Aston Villa beat Paris Saint Germain. All right.
Aston Villa, PSG, Aston Villa, Champions League quarter-final. The media would have you think that football was played on paper, and comfortably, Liverpool were going to beat Aston Villa in the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, Liverpool didn't make it to the quarterfinals, and it's PSG who Aston Villa are going to be playing. Another team that has been written off that they wouldn't be able to make the quarterfinals.
I mean, it wasn't on paper. It was based on delusion and arrogance. If anyone watched Paris Saint Germain, if anyone watched the players that we have and was completely honest, they would have at least said it was a 50-50 tie between PSG and Liverpool. But I guess Cook the Prem Tarts.
Finals in itself. PSG have evolved from the 8-3 formation. The three Galactico superstars up top in Mbappe, Messi and Neymar. Luis Enrique has revitalised PSG into a tactically wonderful team who are very, very dangerous. They blitzed Liverpool, they tactically outfought Liverpool, and Luis Enrique did a job on Arne Slot. PSG's campaign in the Champions League has been somewhat indifferent, losing to Arsenal, losing to Atletico Madrid, losing to Bayern Munich, drawing with PSV, and finally on game week 7 beating Manchester City, narrowly got them into the playoff stage. They were able to go through that, and they were also able to beat Liverpool in the round of 16 as well. Luis Enrique's PSG team are very, very good and very, very dangerous. You could talk about Kvaratskhelia, you can talk about Dembele, we can talk about Barcola, but the overriding system within PSG, their midfield three of Neves, of Ruiz and Vitinha, are the areas that I worry about in this game. Their system is so fluid, it is unbelievable to watch.
Yo, I'm very, very, very appreciative that he mentions that. I think obviously the best thing with PSG is the team. How we attack together, how we defend together, how we press together, how we counter-press together, like the collectiveness. But if we're talking about any strength, I love the attack, but I think the midfield is what makes us different from other teams. I mean, attack wins you games, midfield wins you titles. It's not defense. It's not defense. It's a midfield that wins you titles. Look at the Madrid team that won the UCL. Modric, Casemiro, Cruz. Barca team, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. The midfield is the essential of a team. Something that we potentially were lacking back in the day. Very Verratti reliant.
There are midfield rotations. There's fullbacks bombing on and going forward. There are attackers inverting. Dembele playing as a false nine. They are a very, very good team and a different team to the one that we saw a couple of years ago where we'd got superstars not tracking back, not being a team, not being team players. And PSG were able to do a massive job on Liverpool. We're going to talk about the PSG style and system and how they play. We're also going to unlock and take a look at how they were able to beat Liverpool comfortably. And then we'll also take a look at how Aston Villa will be able to play against PSG and how Aston Villa will be able to beat PSG. The PSG system, on paper, in essence, is a 4-3-3. But it's not a 4-3-3, how we would normally look at a 4-3-3. The midfield three triangle of Ruiz, Vitinha and Neves interchanges, moves around, manipulates around, but Vitinha is the key player for PSG. He's the player, the hub, the anchor, the pivot, who's moving into a back three, making up a back three, but he's also anchoring and being that leverage to move left, to be able to move right, for Ruiz and Neves to do their work as well. Mendes will go further forward and offer a central space for Kvaratskhelia to move and invert as well. Opposite side, Hakimi will go forward and make up that same space that Mendes will make, and Barcola can invert or stay wide as well. Vitinha will make a back three with Pacho and Beraldo. Marquinhos suspended for the first game against Aston Villa, and Dembele will rotate and move around. It's a system that's fluid, that's got movement, that can adapt, that can interchange, and this is a big area of the PSG team that was able to beat Liverpool, and I felt like destroy Liverpool. Liverpool they had no answers. They had no idea. And one of the big things that baffled me with the game against Liverpool was that from the first game to the second game, there was no adaptation from Arne Slot. And this was something that I picked up on the first game, and I thought he would be able to tactically change his idea and his plan, and to be able to find a way of stopping PSG from finding those pockets of space and that midfield three core being able to move and manipulate around the Liverpool central two. Liverpool pressed in a 4-2-4. This 4-2-4 enabled PSG's three in the middle to manipulate and move around the Liverpool two. You can see this from the average positions from the first game. And what we can see from images of this game as well, the first leg in particular, is you can see that centrally you've got the Liverpool 2. Either side of that Liverpool 2, you've got space, and you can see this from the yellow circles. You can also see the triangle of the PSG midfield 2. That's Ruiz, Neves and Vitinha. And this 2 sometimes wouldn't be next to the Liverpool 2. They will spread out and move away from this. They will find space, but then it also enables the wide players, the left back, the right back, to get into those attacking areas, setting traps, dragging the Liverpool players to the midfield of PSG, but then opens up and allows space as well. What you'd got with these rotations was dragging players out of position. You can see here that Konate has been drawn to the ball, which enables a runner, you can see from the yellow arrow, to go in behind Konate. Note the space either side, again, of the Liverpool midfield too. You can see that Vitinha has then gone and made that back three as well. He's always offering the protection, wanting the ball, and always looking to find space. This PSG team look for space. It's like they're attracted to the space, and that's something that's so good about them as well. Again, we can see that when Liverpool defended narrowly with the width of the 18-yard box, you've got the ball out wide, either flank outside. You've got that triangle hub that will always be that triangle that's moving around, manipulating around. But Vitinha, again, is the one that's at the spearhead of that, who's looking to retrieve the ball, have the ball, pop it off, little incisive give and goes, little easy passes. But all those little passes, psychologically for the Liverpool players, they think they're comfortable, but then there'll be a little run from Neves peeling off elsewhere. There'll be a little run from Ruiz moving away, finding that space as well. We could see in the second leg that because of the integral areas that PSG were getting in, Liverpool players were drawn to the ball, which in turn enabled PSG to find more space. We can see this here. We've got 5 Liverpool players attracted to the ball, which then allows, you can see Vitinha finding that space, and he's able to attack that space. Big open gaps, open spaces for PSG to attack as well. We can also see here how the system of PSG is able to work. We've got a circle on the far right side. That is a Hakimi going in and finding that central space. We've got the far left side, closest to us, we've got the left back going in and finding space as well. Vitinha making his little pocket in central midfield, then going to make up that back three as well. So this is all of the rotations that we've seen with this PSG team on how they're moving, how they're adapting, how they're finding space, and PSG are very, very good at finding that.
And that's like why Paris Saint Germain are so hard to defend against, because you're not doing, like in a corner kick, you say zonal marking or player marking. You can do neither on Paris Saint Germain players on the pitch. You can't zonal marking because we're always like overloading one side, being in different zones. You can't do player marking because the players are constantly switching position. One time you could be marking Dembele, the next time Kvara. One time you could be marking Fabian, the next time Vitinha, the next time Neves. It's basically because football and every sport and everything is basically a guessing game. But PSG is the guessing game where a lot of the time you will be wrong and it will cost you.
Space. Stopping Vitinha is absolutely crucial for Aston Villa. He's the cog, he's the glue, he's everything to this PSG team. I cannot reiterate how important he is to this side. He's brilliant. I've shown you what he actually does, but we can also see from the 2 legs, home and away, the differences between what Vitinha can bring to the side, and he's just got that ability to be able to move around the football pitch and offer different things. He can sit in there, he can defend, but he can also attack and get into those really good attacking areas, find those nice little pockets and find that space. Now, from the first leg, he was a lot more attacking. We can see he had 132 touches, 12 were in the defensive third, we've got 87 in the mid-third, and in the final third, he got 33. Now, if we go to Anfield, what we can see is that there's a little bit more of a solid base there. He's on that left-hand side, he's on the right-hand side of that bottom of the defensive base, but he can also drift and get into those attacking areas. And the numbers between the home and second leg are really important. He had 137 touches at Anfield. He'd got 39 in the defensive third, 18 in the mid-third, and 18 in the final third. Now, the mid-third is where he does a lot of operating. 87 first leg, 80 in the second leg. But compare that attacking third, so final third, 33 in the first leg, and 18 in the second leg. Stark comparison to where he was operating, where he was playing. So shutting down Vitinha is number one on my agenda to beating PSG.
Shout out to this guy, man. First of all, he's done amazing planning. He's actually watched PSG. He actually knows what Paris Saint Germain are. And yeah, Vitinha, I mean, yeah, you definitely want to take out the opposition's like ball playing six. Like if you look at Bayern, you're looking at Kimmich. If you look at Barca, you're looking at Pedri. If you look at PSG, you're looking at Vitinha. Maybe City, you're looking at Rodri when he was in form and playing good. Taking out the six from the game is absolutely crucial, especially Vitinha in the Paris Saint Germain midfield. So that's actually something Unai Emery should be looking ahead at. Potentially maybe man marking Vitinha, having someone more physical on him. That's slightly one of Vitinha's weaknesses. So yeah, I mean that's one thing that you can do to make it harder for Paris Saint Germain. Great so far.
How do Aston Villa beat PSG? And it's within our own system, 4-4-2. I believe 4-4-2 is the perfect system to be able to beat this PSG side and their rotations and their movement and their quality, their ability to isolate players. And Aston Villa's 4-4-2 is going to be very good in my opinion. Now, I've referred this numerous times about Villarreal going to Juventus and being able to sit in, dig in, defend, and be able to hit Juventus on the break and win that game away at Juventus. I think one of Unai Emery's biggest achievements is not the Europa Leagues. I think it's getting Villarreal to the semi-final of the Champions League. And for him to be able to do that as a team, it's not as easy as just rocking up and being able to attack, dominate, play well. In Europe, Champions League especially, you have to suffer. You have to be able to tactically be able to defend well and follow the game plan. And Villa's 4-4-2, following Unai Emery's blueprint of Villarreal at Juventus, Villa against Bayern Munich, being able to defend even Villa at home against Juventus in this season Champions League, tactically being switched on is going to be very important. Villa off the ball is going to be very important in this tie. 4-4-2 is the best formation in football. And I've got a quote from Arsene Wenger on why this is the case. And he tells us why that formation is so important. 4-4-2 formation is the formation who is the best suited dimension of the football pitch. Why, will you ask me? Why? 60% of your team, that means 2 central defenders, 2 central midfielders and 2 strikers cover naturally 60% of the surface of the pitch. And 40%, that means 2 wide players on each side. 4 players cover 40% of the pitch. That means it's rationally, mathematically, the best suited system to cover in a rational way the surface of the pitch. Villa 4-4-2, mid-block, sitting in, not allowing that space for PSG to manipulate the Villa double pivot is going to be something very key. We can talk about how Villa attack PSG in a future tactical episode, but Villa defensively, going up against this PSG 4-3-3 hybrid system, 4-4-2 is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree a 4-4-2 would be better than what Liverpool did with the 4-2-4. If you honestly ask me what's the best formation to play against PSG, I would say 4-4-2 nearly, but I would say 4-5-1, even more defensive, because then you have 2 players on the wide, because Paris Saint-Germain like to overload the wide spaces. You can have the winger and the fullback at the same time, potentially even with one more player. But if you have your left back and left midfielder and right back and right midfielder, that's enough. And then the midfield, I mean, having 2 midfielders is good, but with Paris Saint-Germain playing 3 midfielders, sometimes players inverting in, sometimes then boost dropping, you want to have maybe 3 midfielders. So I would say 4-5-1 is the perfect. But obviously, that's not the formation that Villa play. And then you get pretty much nothing offensively as well. You want to have the offensive stuff because, first of all, it will scare the opposition of potential counterattack, and it will also make you better after counterattack. But yeah, 4-4-2, another good idea here.
Now, on these episodes that I'm doing, I really want to find a nice balance between my thoughts and the experts' thoughts. So on the first episode that I did about Enzo Barrenechea, we had Antonio Mango, and his insight was absolutely phenomenal. Now we're going to see the insight from a familiar face in Earl on his thoughts on PSG, the attacking players, and who he thinks are their best players as well. So take it away, Earl. Who do you feel like is PSG's most important player?
Yeah, I'd say Vitinha is probably their most important player, and he's got a lot of hype around him at the minute. He's kind of their controller, midfield general, exactly what makes them tick. He's the player that'll have the most touches, most passes, and they'll look to get him on the ball whenever they can. Yeah, so we've mentioned Vitinha. You've then got Hakimi as well, who's heavily involved for them on the right. He's a right back, but at times he'll play like a right winger.
Wow, great shout. I guess this is an Aston Villa player. I don't know who it is, but I'm guessing it's an Aston Villa player. And mentioning Vitinha, Hakimi, systematically, yeah, they are the two most essential players of the Paris Saint Germain system. If you told me what two players would you not want to get injured, I'll probably say them. The only one that could be in question is Ousmane Dembele, but that's less about the role he has, more about he's like our big game player, like he's scoring in every single big game. But like systematically, how we play as a team, Vitinha, Hakimi for sure.
And fully offering them the width down the right-hand side. And then you've got the front three of Ousmane Dembele, who's the top scorer this season, Bradley Barcola and Kvaratskhelia as well, who are all dynamic wingers, like to dribble, plenty of pace.
One man that will be going back to PSG, Asensio. What effect do you feel like he's going to have on the game?
Well, he'll be going back to Paris with a point to prove, won't he? On the game itself, and I think he brings that experience for Aston Villa in the dressing room. Going to an away tie in the latter stages of the Champions League, you kind of need that experience, and also that he'll have that intel as well on Paris Saint Germain and how they play. So yeah, it'd be good to see Asensio back in Paris. Yeah, it's absolutely why we've brought in a player with the caliber of Marcus Rashford is these big games, big moments, and like you say, he's done it in Paris before, so hopefully he can do it again.
I love hearing Earl's insights. Very, very good. His data analysis is top quality, and you'll see all of his graphics along my content as well. So big up to Earl, AVFC scout, up the Villa.
Okay, maybe it's not an Aston Villa player, maybe just another Villa fan. But yeah, great, great shout.
We'll end the episode today on what I wanted to create with this episode was a little bit of a insight into PSG, how they play, tactically what are they good at, who's their most influential player. And it's a little bit early to be talking about this game, but I really want to build up to the PSG game. I really want to build the intensity. And what I'm going to do is on this episode, I've spoke about PSG. I've spoke about what they're good at. I am going to bring you an episode where I create a tactical master plan to beat PSG. And I'll show you how Villa attack PSG. And I'll show you how we can beat them. So I just want to say thanks to everybody that's been watching this channel, The Villains. It's brand new. It's evolving. My idea is evolving. The delivery is getting to the place that I want it to be. It's a different delivery to what I've done before. So I'm still learning the ropes on what works and what doesn't. But hopefully you are enjoying this, and it's going to grow, it's going to evolve. So all I ask is that you subscribe, smash the likes, and comment your thoughts in the comment section as well.
Well, that's been it for the Villains reaction. Great video, great insight. Definitely knows about Paris Saint Germain. And again, he's confident. He's supporting Aston Villa, but he knows it's a very, very tough ask for Aston Villa to go through in this game. I will potentially react to his other video in the future. But yeah, let's go to another one. I just want to quickly look at some comments here under my video. My early Paris Saint Germain versus Aston Villa thoughts. Do not underestimate Villa. So much experience in the team. Don't forget the manager. What? Villa have the second best home form in the Premier League, only behind Liverpool. They also just got their defense back. They've played 14 different centre-backs partnership due to injuries, but they are back now. If they can hold you to a draw, just one goal loss away, you should be very worried. Villa at home are deadly. We'll also go robbed against Juve in the group stage. A fucking handball. We're the second best form in the Premier League, only behind Liverpool. Like, you just cooked yourself. We went to Anfield and won there. So even if you got this... But I've only lost at home twice this all-season competition. Crystal Palace and Crow Cup, but playing B team Arsenal in August. Can't wait to see this bum come out with excuse to why PG Bond against the underdogs. Don't forget this Villa team turn out for the big nights. Remember, they beat a very good Man City and Arsenal the same week. Wow, man. Wow. He was a great tactician, coach. Respect and appreciate him before I take care. Legitimate goal. Alright, a lot of these Aston Villa fans are talking about this Sanaga. The arrogance. How Villa do this? After all, they have won a European Cup. Your first mistake is we should go through. You're in for a shock. Classic complacency. Like, do Aston Villa fans not understand who they are? Why are they fucking overrating themselves? This is your first year in the Champions League since the 90s. Don't underestimate Villa. You expect to beat it, but even underestimate lose within 1 to 2 guys to your place. Coming to Villa Park is worse than Anfield. Villa have lost twice all season there. Again, just playing this home advantage gimmick thingy. No, we're overconfident at 4 points. It's a hard to place to go to Anfield this season. Brave Joe Anfield's library compared to Villa Park. Well, let's go back to reactions. Fox Sports video here. We can beat PSG. Dan Bardell claims Aston Villa suit better being the underdog in the Champions League.
In the last day of the Champions League, you're in the FA Cup as well. What takes priority over the league of trying to get in the top 4 next year, if any?
Well, when you're fighting on 3 fronts, these things don't have to be mutually exclusive, do they? Obviously, if I had to choose one, which is what you're obviously going to ask me,
I am.
I'd like to win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And seeing Newcastle win a trophy at the weekend has only exasperated that.
Are you envious of that? Like, just saying,
I was really
love
pleased
that
for
in
them.
your lifetime. No, I don't mean like jealous of them, but I mean it resonates with you to be like, I want that.
Well, they haven't won a trophy for 70 years, and we haven't won anything since 1996, and that feels like about 70 years. So, I think the Villa fans, I've said this loads of times. I think if you ask most Villa fans now what they prefer to happen this season, they could only have one thing. I think 90% would choose the FA Cup, because there's so many generations of Villa fans now that haven't seen Villa win this trophy, haven't won it since 1957. So I don't even think, was my dad even alive when Villa won the FA Cup? I think he was like 3 or 4 when Villa won the FA Cup. So it would be something that would just unite the whole fan base as being this big massive thing. And the domestic cups are important. I know sometimes they get devalued, but seeing Newcastle win that the way they won it at the weekend, seeing what it meant to the players and the fans to be the ones that were there when it happened, I'd love to see Villa lift the trophy at Wembley.
They have to beat Chelsea, Arsenal over 2 legs, Liverpool.
Yeah,
I can't remember who they got.
Knocked some good teams out. Newcastle really good win of a cup that was.
Yeah, it wasn't like they just got a favourable set
no, they did it the hard way.
They did do it the hard way. Well, on your team, let's hear from European football expert Andy Brazel, because he believes that Aston Villa have the quality to hurt PSG.
If there's anything that gives them a chance against PSG, is their ability to change the game. Because I thought,
okay, I already if there's anything that gives them a chance, already talking about Aston Villa has a very small likelihood of going through. At least they're being honest here.
Club Brugge were the better team for big parts of the first leg. And
True.
the second leg, even though they were in not a hopeless situation, but a near hopeless situation, having lost the home leg 3-1, and that mad last 10 minutes really played them out of the tie, they played like they still believed in that first half. And
if we're talking about the first leg, I mean, yes and no. It was way more Club Brugge shooting themselves in the foot by scoring an own goal and giving away a penalty than Villa being absolutely relentless and pushing for those moments. Not saying that Villa were not good.
it made Unai Emery make changes, but he made the right changes, and the quality of those changes, and you look at, I know it's obvious, but Asensio and Rashford in particular, really took the game away from Club Brugge. So in the end, it looks like a thrashing on paper. It really wasn't, but that's what the best teams do to you, isn't it? They give you that feeling. We were in that game for loads of it, and we've ended up
again. If it was Club Brugge having a good game, then Villa go back and score goals, but it wasn't. It was a complete disgusting mistake from the Club Brugge centre back, and then a stupid penalty to be given away. Sure, you can prop Villa. Wow. Come on.
ended up getting absolutely thrashed. So I think for Villa to be handing out that sort of lesson with that sort of quality that they've got must be a great feeling.
Yeah, I really like what Andy had to say there, because I mean, PSG experienced a lot of that against Liverpool in the first leg, didn't they? In terms of how we lost that game, and then they put it right. So if you're thinking about someone who is just coming off playing against a team who they've dominated, but maybe thought they might not go on to win, it's actually PSG. They'll be ready for that threat. But on what Andy's saying, like you say with Unai Emery, you trust him and the squad that you've got, the depth of options. He's right. Against Club Brugge, it looked like you wasn't the better team for large parts, but those clinical moments, those game-changing substitutions, you've got that
Own goal penalty.
in such depth.
Yeah, I look at it as being against Club Brugge. Villa the favourites probably for that tie over 2 legs. Yeah. So I don't think that suits Villa in the Champions League. I think it suits Villa being the underdog. I think it suits Unai Emery being the underdog. I think if Villa manage the two legs correctly, there's no reason why we can't go through. Look, PSG are frightening. Like, the way they played across those two legs against Liverpool, two top performances, and their front three is scary, and their midfield three is friendly. Sorry, he's scary. It's not
friendly. It's definitely not friendly.
He's
Vitinha looks like a nice lad, I think.
Yeah, they've got a host of unbelievable footballers, and Luis Enrique seems to have glued it all together and knitted it all together very, very
Solid at
nicely.
the back as well.
But
Very physical.
Unai Emery is a European expert. If Villa can go to PSG and come away with it being close in the first leg, Villa are very, very good at Villa Park.
I wouldn't call Unai Emery a European expert. I would call him good European manager. Look, Europa League is not the same as Champions League, where majority of the Unai Emery success has come. And yes, he did have that incredible run with Villarreal, taking them to the semi-final. But calling Unai Emery a European expert? All right.
Only lost 2 games this season at Villa Park, and one of them was in the Carabao Cup with the third team. The other one was the first home game of the season against Arsenal. So we're used to picking up results at Villa Park. I just think that if Villa play to their maximum and PSG maybe have an off tie across the two legs, which is definitely capable of happening.
Legs.
They're on great form at the moment. If you remember back to the group stage of the Champions League, they didn't finish in the top 8. Villa did.
Again, bringing up completely irrelevant games, results, performances, just get something. Even before the Liverpool tie, I heard, how is PSG going to beat Liverpool? They lost to Bayern, Arsenal, Atletico, drew to PSV. Well, I said that doesn't matter because that was an entirely different team. We had our own problems. I don't have to talk about the problems now, but we had our own problems. All of those have been solved. It's not the same thing anymore. Okay.
Because, you know, they're in a little bit of a patchy run of form. They're in a good run at the moment, but by the time the tie comes round, things might have changed ever so slightly. If Villa manage it correctly, there's no reason why we can't knock them out. Just because they battered Liverpool across 2 legs doesn't mean that that's the way the game's going to go against Villa.
It's very
Just because they battered Liverpool, the team that is making your league look dog shit, just because we absolutely dominated them, doesn't make PSG going to beat Aston Villa. As I've said many times in this video, Aston Villa fans should obviously be confident in their team, as should every single football fan. But the stuff they are saying to give Aston Villa a chance of winning, like, you can actually, once again, as I said to before the Liverpool tie, there are probably some advantage stuff you can say. You can bring up the Dortmund game from last season, obviously a different Paris Saint Germain team, but we saw a team sitting back, playing more defensive and conservative. You know, their winger was helping out their fullback majority of the game. And we struggle against that. We didn't score a single goal versus Dortmund in both legs. That's something valuable you can bring up, even though it's a little bit irrelevant because it happened last season, different team, different, you know, stage in the Luis Enrique process. But
very similar to, you know, when big up to the guys on Fight Night Extra in terms of, you know, styles make fights. Like, just because Liverpool play in that way that PSG found it so, you know, difficult. Sorry, Liverpool found it so difficult to deal with. I said that could suit Villa.
Yeah.
That
Liverpool sat back in the first game. They struggled. Liverpool pressed high up in the second game. They struggled. That's the thing a lot of people have to understand about this Paris Saint Germain team. It's dangerous however the opposition wants to play. If you want to play high pressing with a high line, we will cook. If you want to sit back, play conservative, we will cook. Well, once again, sure.
that type of, you know, they could sit back. We know PSG are going to be dominant. We know they're going to, you know, dominate the midfield or have a lot of possession in midfield, etc., etc. But like say in transition, that plays into Villa's hands.
Yeah, look, Morgan Rogers has frightened some really good defences this season. Villa have got attacking options, and at the moment everyone's fit. They can change a game round, like Andy said. They can bring on really high level players now with Champions League experience as well. I think back to the game against Bayern Munich. I remember the first 15 minutes, Bayern passed us off the park. It was scary how there was all around. I'd never really seen anything like it. In all honesty, because I'm not used to Champions League. Obviously,
level, isn't it?
Villa won the game 1-0. If they can nick a draw away at PSG, we can beat them at Villa Park. A lot will depend, with many Champions League ties, how the first leg goes. But Unai Emery will have a game plan up his sleeve. He'll be watching countless hours of footage daily.
It's yeah, I mean, what can I say, man? Well, it's the same story all over again, just expecting yourself to do something and we can nick a result at the park. Liverpool fugazed and nicked the most disgusting result I've seen. They still fucking lost. At Anfield, a supposed European fortress,
Hayes,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
probably,
yeah,
he's probably
yeah,
already
yeah.
started. He will come up with a plan for both games, and it's the added edge for him as well of being against his own old team.
I agree. I think Villa can give him a right good game. Kind of hope PSG go through though.
Of course
but,
you do.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Oh, actually, well, no. I say a lot of things. I have to retract myself. No, I said if Rashford wins the Premier League, I'll be happy for him.
Yeah,
If he
when
wins
you're
the
in the
Champions League.
Premier League.
If he wins the Champions League, I'll be happy for him. But nah.
it's a huge ask. Look, PSG are
team.
brilliant.
Yeah, but you can give him a proper game. I do think you do have a chance, 100%.
To even be in the quarterfinals, to finish in the top 8 of the group stage of the Champions League, these are all massive achievements.
If you
Yeah, I mean that's your trophy. That's your trophy.
get knocked
Celebrate
out
it.
by PSG, but you make the FA Cup final, regardless of
Yeah,
where you
happy.
finish in the league, that was a successful season.
We win the FA Cup, it's a successful season for Villa because they've
Yeah,
shown
well,
that
I
they
can get to the
can
final,
be
don't
the
win
best.
it.
What, in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't have that. You've got to win. You've got to
But
win it once
is
you
it still
get there,
successful that you got to an FA
Well,
Cup
no,
final, got
because
to
if
a
we-
quarter final in Champions League,
No,
and finished?
I think they got to a fine. I have a feeling they lost to Arsenal in FA Cup recently. A final.
maybe don't come
Fifth,
away with
fifth.
something. You've got to come away with something.
Yeah,
Tangible,
okay.
a trophy or,
I like that,
or your
raising the
Champions
standards.
League football again, haven't you?
Let's do the weekly Rashford. Will he be an Aston Villa player beyond this summer? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it from the game. Again, as I said, he can be confident. There are some stuff he can bring up, and look at the small the percentage Aston Villa has of going through. But he's making it bigger than it is, bringing up Fugazi stuff that doesn't matter, that is completely irrelevant. He says like, "Oh my God, PSG are brilliant," but he really doesn't rate us. I think he's nearly forced to rate us because if he doesn't say positive stuff, if he doesn't say Paris Saint Germain are brilliant, he's gonna be cooked for being deluded. But I don't. It feels forced. I don't think he really rates us like that. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. So here we have Clara Blue Aston Villa podcasts. Yeah, let's see what they have to say about the game.
I'm sure. John, have you had much sleep since last night? Or the night before when this video goes out?
I didn't have much sleep last night, no. No, it was a very late finish, but like, I just had so much adrenaline, at least in the stadium. I think everyone knew who we were going through as soon as the Bruges right back got that red card. But even after the game, it was just seeing our crest within the 7 and it being Champions League last 6, last 8, sorry. It's not Conference League, it's not Europa League, it's the Champions League. It's the best competition you could possibly be in. So yeah, to be among the final 8 teams is it's remarkable. And to say, although I think we probably expected it, the feeling that I had afterwards was still like, it wasn't the kind of euphoria of like, oh my God, we've done it. It was more like, wow, like you just sort of take a step back and think that's an incredible achievement, especially from where we were, a few years ago. It's been a rapid rise really quickly. We've come to the top of the European football. So yeah, incredibly proud of where the club's got itself to.
Yeah, and for those that are watching, we've both now got our free scarves up in the background. I'm glad and pleased to report that nobody needs to send you any scarves. You've managed to get one this time. Keep your own scarves, everybody. John Townley's fine.
No, I didn't nick one off anyone's seat or anything like that when it makes any absurd accusations. There was a few where the snacks are in the press room. There's a few there, so I thought I'm taking that. I don't know if it was anyone in the press room, but there was 3 or 4 stacks, so I think I'll take one.
We're here today to talk a little bit about PSG, actually. I think this video comes out on the Friday. Wednesday night and Thursday has been the kind of pinch yourself feeling of, wow, you see those graphics of the last 8 and Villa's badges in there, and it looks both absurd and normal at the same time, weirdly. Like, yes, we feel like we belong at this highest level, but to see us there, when the things like the UEFA Champions League social media accounts are posting out like PSG versus Aston Villa, quarter-final tie number 2 or whatever it is, it's like, wow, yeah, that's us. Like and that's kind of the overriding emotion I've had since full time of like, we have achieved something just to get to this level. And fans of other clubs that do this year in, year out probably think, this is an achievement. You haven't done anything yet. You've won a round of 16 game. But for us, as you said, the rise that we've had. So I kind of had that feeling of the appreciation maybe of, oh wow, like we actually have done something here. Now I feel like it's time to turn our attention forwards to PSG instead. Stop reflecting on Wednesday. Let's look ahead. The game is obviously not for another 3-4 weeks. Obviously, this big break that Villa have coming up. And this isn't a match preview because obviously we'll do that near the time. But PSG, John, we'll play PSG home and away in 2 legs for a place in the semi-final of the Champions League. Like, this is the stuff that you worked so hard for last season to get top 4. This is why it's games like this.
Yeah, and I remember when the draw was being made, and I was genuinely gutted to get Liverpool. Like, I was despondent for a few hours when we were doing it. I really wanted to get Barcelona, really, or at least that was the thought. It didn't even come into my thinking that PSG would beat Liverpool, and that's poor on my part because clearly I don't watch the Uber Eats League or is it the McDonald's League? No, I'm not too sure. But clearly a very good side. Beforehand, I said, well, an ideal situation is PSG beat Liverpool.
I mean, love the honesty. Love the honesty.
And Atletico beat Real Madrid, and that's Villa's probably the best pathway to the final, which is mental to be thinking along those lines. So I can't now.
Again, this is not just him. So many Villa fans are talking about this final potential trophy.
Obviously sitting here and saying, "Oh, I'd rather be playing Liverpool." So yeah, listen, PSG have they just about got into the knockouts. Really, they were struggling. There was a fixture with Man City, weren't they? Fully deserved to be in the quarterfinals, of course, because Liverpool were, as Emery said yesterday. It made me laugh a bit. Emery said they played the best team in Europe before today, or before this week, and I laughed a little bit. I don't know why. Yeah, they obviously finished first in the league phase, so it makes sense to say that. But PSG are clearly a proper team, and it's interesting how all the kind of Galacticos leave, and all of a sudden, like they've got some really good young players. They're working as a team properly now. So yeah, of course it'll be a massive task, but it's not the point. As you say, Dan, it's we've got a big tie, and I don't know, fantastic side, but equally, you are right. This is a team who didn't set the world alight in the league phase.
I didn't expect us to get anywhere near the quarter.
Again, so many people are bringing up this league phase, man. And it's always the teams that did well in the league phase that bring this up. If you understand the Champions League phase, it's a copy thing from the NBA. From MLS, I think they have the same. MLS last season, Inter Miami won the league title, I think by a record points. They got knocked out in the first round. When will you guys understand that league phase means absolutely nothing? It's basically a qualification phase if you qualify into the knockout stages. And it's irrelevant. Our last defeat in the Champions League, apart from the Liverpool one, but I mean, we won the title, so it don't matter, and it was Fugazi, was against Bayern in at the end of October.
Quarterfinal. Bruges is an easier task than some other games that you could have in the round of 16. But taking that away, Bruges is still a Champions League side, as we said in the post match, and played some good football. And if not for the red card, maybe they nick a goal before half time. It's a different tie then. So this wasn't a cakewalk, despite the 6-1 scoreline. But in the end, Villa are absolutely worthy winners, and now set up a tie with PSG that is, for me, just exciting. Maybe when we do the preview a couple of days before the game, it's like PSG is scary. I'm worried for us. Hopefully we can stay in it after the first leg. But for now, it's just what a tie we have on our hands to look forward to.
That second leg of Villa Park in the quarter-final, obviously you want us to still be in the tie, and who knows what's going to happen. But whatever happens at Villa Park, I think you're going to feel pride, whatever, because we've come this far already. So it just does feel like, I want to say free hit, because now we're here, why not try and win the thing? That will be what Unai Emery's thinking. And the players, by the way, they're not talking as if we're going to go there and enjoy ourselves. Like Ming said, we'll do that, but also we have firepower, we can cause problems. And McGinn said he wants to write his name in the history book. So the mentality among the players, and by the way, Asensio and Rashford coming in, they're not coming in just to have a nice time. Firstly, Rashford played really well in the game for Man United against PSG previously, so he's been there and done that. PSG own Marco Asensio, they pay his wages. So these players aren't coming here and thinking, oh my god, we're going to Paris and playing PSG. Emery managed the club and won trophies there, so this isn't we're not going to kind of be dazzled by the lights of Paris as such. It's going to be we're going to try and show a good account of ourselves.
I heard somebody on the radio, rather, I think it was TalkSport, saying that this isn't kind of or the Villa's approach going into that game against PSG won't be plucky FA Cup underdogs going away to a Premier League side and being if we lose the game by a couple of goals, we'll have done well, because it's just the occasion that matters. Go to PSG, hoping to get a result and bring them back to Villa Park and beat them in the second leg. That will be Villa's intention. However dirty and horrible the first leg has to be to secure that, who cares? I'd snap your hand off now for a disgusting 0-0 away at Paris.
Oh god, yeah. Would you take a 1-0 defeat? I know that might sound crazy.
100%, yeah. I think if there's only one goal in it, I think I'd snap your hand off for a 1-0 defeat. Obviously not, 'cause it sounds silly, but I think a lot of people will be fearful of the PSG Liverpool first leg, that another team could have lost that 4-0 if that happens.
Again, I mean, I'm just seeing Liverpool fans, similar stuff. This gimmick about the home stadium. 0-0, 1-0. Obviously, you would feel more confident if you got that result away at the back, taking it to your stadium. But this over-reliance on the home stadium will save you. Never understood it, man.
To Villa, it don't matter that the second leg is at Villa Park, because the tie will be over.
Yeah, I just want the Villa Park leg to have. I want us to still be in the tie after the first leg. So who knows what's going to happen in Villa Park? We've seen the power of Villa Park a lot under Unai Emery. We've lost twice this season.
Even 2 goals. So I wouldn't be like the tie is done.
No. I think anything over 2 goals would be a bit of a blow. That would be a mountain to climb, really. But yeah, you just want it to be at the start of that game. Everyone's giving it everything, not just because it's potentially the last game of the Champions League, but because we can win this and get to the semi. It's a semi-final of the Champions League. I know the thought of playing for a semi-final. Like in my head at the moment, we're playing PSG, and that's almost that's it. You're playing PSG. Wow, you're playing to get into the final 4 of the Champions League. It's boggles my mind, really. But here we are. And as I say, Emery will be having a plan to do this in a weird way. I think it's probably a blessing that PSG have nearly wiped the floor with Liverpool, because we know exactly what to expect now. I actually think if we played PSG, because I remember thinking this before, if we played PSG in the round of 16.
Again, another argument I don't understand. PSG have already done everything. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If you're gonna play prime 2011 Barca, you know exactly what they're gonna do, but you still fail. Ferguson played them in the final 09, then 11, basically the same, and they got destroyed in both finals. The best comparison I have is Khabib. Khabib in the UFC and the MMA, you knew exactly what was going to do. You had all the studying, everything, and they still looked like bums when they went into the cage with him. I don't understand this argument.
like Liverpool did. I would have been pretty like, yeah, okay, you know, it's a big team, but they're not favourite for the competition or anything like that, judging on their league phase performances in last season as well. Like again, it's the French league and it doesn't come with much competition.
Again, we were in the Champions League. Even if you want to discredit and do this fucking disgusting Premier League agenda, we're here, Premier League and everything down here. We're in the Champions League semi-final last season. Fuck, man. Even Aston Villa, like Liverpool fans, at least understand why they're arrogant. They're first in the league. They've done consistently well in the Champions League recently. They won it in 2021. They've been to 2 finals and lost as well. Where's this fucking... Is the Premier League, man. The Premier League, man.
Apart from maybe a couple of teams like Marseille and Lille, Monaco. But I just felt like a Villa against PSG before I saw them against Liverpool. Yeah, okay. Like if we have to play them, we'll have to play them. But obviously that's completely flipped now because of what they did against Liverpool. So in a way, I think that's probably a good thing. We are not going there. I mean, it sounds mental to say, but we're not underestimating them whatsoever. We know exactly what we're going to be in for. So I think that's a good thing.
It is crazy how the perception changes. I saw some comments on the post-match for Bruges saying, yeah, when we did the kind of got involved in the debates of who would we want to play if we get through, would you rather Liverpool or PSG, the sexy European side away from home and the trip that comes with it, or the team that we play twice a year, every year for however many years in a row, you know? And everyone kind of leaned towards, well, I want to play PSG. We're playing in the Champions League in European football to play European sides. First leg comes around and PSG batter Liverpool despite losing the game. It's, well, actually, I think I'd rather play Liverpool because I think we might beat them. But yeah, that's just off a 2-legged game that PSG looked good. They were no great shakes in the league phase. Like their Champions League.
Again, bring up the league phase. Liverpool was just 2 games. Yeah, making the best Premier League team, the team that's sitting maybe 30 points ahead of you, making them look like fucking championship. Yeah, just 2 games. And everything they do in Ligue 1 doesn't matter. 19 points, 21 points cleared top Ligue 1 McDonald's. I don't even understand why people even have a YouTube channel. Because if you have a YouTube channel, you want to express your opinion. Why are you expressing your idiotic opinion, man?
The campaign as a whole hasn't been very good. We would take evidence from that to say, well, they can be beat.
Oh yeah, you know what? Villa have been better than PSG in the Champions League this season because they finished top 8 and we struggled finishing 15th. PSG underdogs. Aston Villa is the favorites in this game, man. They beat Bruges 6-1. PSG beat Liverpool only on pence, man.
And Villa can beat teams, clean sheets at home. Going to concede 2 goals in the Champions League at Villa Park in the Celtic game. I think we've won 7 of the 10 games that we've played, if that's right.
7 out of 10, 9 goals scored. Yeah, 5
It's a good record that we have in Europe, and PSG have been good in the knockouts, but so far in their entire
Wait.
campaign, they've not been as good as Villa. So it's a game. I think we've won 7 of the 10. Going to concede 2 goals in the Champions League at Villa Park in the Celtic game. I think we've won 7 of the 10 games that we've played, if that's right.
7 out of 10, 9 goals scored. Yeah, 5
It's a good record that we have in Europe, and PSG have been good in the knockouts, but so far in their entire campaign, they've...
He's actually doing it. I was just fucking joking what potentially he could say or believe in. And
not been as good as Villa. So I'm not suggesting that we're favourites for the tie, but like I said, I'm not going into this as plucky underdogs. Let's just see what happens. When we get round to doing our match preview, I'll be predicting Villa to get to the semi-final. Of course I will.
Did I predict Villa to get to the semi-final? I think I did.
Yeah, we both had Liverpool to beat PSG. I was very tempted to pick PSG in our predictions video. You had a semi-final against Real Madrid, and I had Liverpool beating us in the quarter-final comfortably, like Jamie Carragher said.
Yeah, a bit of an embarrassing video that's turned out for Cada. Yeah, what you touched on there, that was, again, kind of encapsulates my feelings of like, this feels like a point where, I don't have to say it because it kind of exposes us not being used to winning things in our Villa lifetime, but it feels like we've finished, how do I put it? Like we've completed everything that we thought we would in the Champions League to this stage. So it felt to me like, oh, I'm just going to look back at what we've done. But after doing that, that's given me energy, like you said there, Dan, to actually think, well, PSG will be looking at us and thinking, that's quite a good team. Like, forget the league, forget it. In the Champions League, in Europe, with Unai Emery, of course, who PSG obviously know very well. Yeah, we've 5 out of 10 clean sheets, 10 out of 10 wins, 19 goals scored. We've blown some teams away. Still had difficult games, you know, Juventus, Bayern, Leipzig away.
Juventus.
Yeah, we really should have, yeah, for sure. So PSG, I'm sure, won't be underestimating us either, but this is going to be a completely different game to what Liverpool gave them. So it will be interesting to see how they kind of face off against us. The only thing I would say is, of course, in every game that they play in the league, they're the favourite. I said in my walk and talk. I'll never forget.
Once again, just disgusting agenda, Ligue 1, farm. 7 minutes left, 7 minutes
left. The start of the games when the players walk out not just when the music's on, but beforehand with the tifo, with obviously the scarves, with the banners, all sorts of things. And shout out to the 1897 group who have done lots of fundraisers for helping improve the atmosphere of Villa Park and different things, and they've had a key role in what we're seeing in these Champions League nights. And again, they're unforgettable, really. You know, the fireworks, the whole lot, the display. You know, so that is a massive tick for me. It's one of the things that I just won't forget because of all the pictures and all the videos and all that stuff. It really marks it as an event, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to.
I think there's one extra thing there that we didn't touch on the post match. Apart from all like I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. Anyone who's seen the post match is that me and Matt were very kind of appreciative of all the fanfare, if you like. But away from the manufactured stuff of the tifos and the flags and the scarves and whatever else, the crowd is something that obviously can't be controlled externally by the club. There's not many games these days across modern football. My dad actually said this was a thing that used to be when stadiums were standing only. You were in early because you wanted to get your spots. You don't now because you've got your seats. But there aren't many games these days where there is singing pre-game. You don't get that against Brentford at home in the Premier League because it's just a different level, and that's what elevates it as well. But yes, all the other stuff the club do is great, but having the fans know that this is a big deal and we're going to make it a big deal. If there is still something on that second leg, which I think, again, touch wood, cross everything, there is, that would be an unbelievable atmosphere in that second leg, probably one of the best of a generation. I
think one of the loudest times I've heard Villa Park would probably be when the players were walking out against Bayern. It just felt like everyone was just screaming. I'll never forget that Bayern game. I was like, bloody hell, I got a bit scared, to be honest. Like, it was... Never heard anything like that at Villa Park, and especially in that moment as well. Like, it wasn't a goal or anything like that where it's a different kind of cheer. But that was just like screaming the team on. Like, it was just pure passion, and like, we're back. We can have that again, and it will be louder than Bayern, I think, because that is a chance for the bloody semi-finals of the Champions League, which then of course would mean you get that Villa Park. Yeah, and you get it again, the Villa Park second leg. Oh my God, to get to the final! Like,
no, let's not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Just the thought of having that atmosphere in that moment at the start of the game.
Yeah,
we've got it at least once, and we can all look forward to that. Hopefully, if we don't get beaten by a few. Yeah, hopefully not. But hey, I'm sitting there. Yeah, it could happen, but I don't think it will. I think we'll be able to kind of keep ourselves kind of responsible for a kind of respectable scoreline for sure.
Yeah, and just one thing to end this little video very quickly. You could pick out a number of Villa's players who could cause PSG damage, and this is not necessarily in the first leg because maybe we do set up to be a really horrible, cagey affair and we don't see much creativity. You just don't know. But to hurt PSG, Villa to go through to the semi-final, obviously Emery speaks for himself. Very, very.
What's he playing?
For the players' perspective, I think you can look at two ends to not go through potentially 11 players. The importance of Emi Martinez is obviously absolutely crucial in France as a nice little storyline narrative on the side. They obviously hate him because of the World Cup. For those that don't know, he will love that, especially in the first leg. Imagine if he gets a clean sheet at PSG. I love it. But going forward the other way, as mad as it is, Marco Asensio will cause PSG, the club he's paid his wage by and still on their books, he could cause them serious damage. Like, this is a seriously world-class, unbelievable talent, a Champions League cheat.
I mean, Asensio... Calling Asensio world-class, he's been very good for you. He's been very... I'm honestly just sad for these guys once again. It's gonna be another reality check, and wow, PSG are amazing. I didn't think they were this good. Asensio causes problems, world class. Let me hear Rashford as well.
Bring him on score goals just like that, like it's nothing. His movement, all those things, whatever PSG are doing. If we do get a chance and someone like Asensio is in the right area, he can cause damage. And as mad as it is that that's a player that they own and it feels like that shouldn't be allowed, it is. Those two positions of the pitch will be crucial. PSG are probably the favourites, right? But Villa have got some things in their arsenal.
PSG are probably the favourites? You know what? I'm gonna start just laughing at delusional people instead of getting mad, man. Because what's the point? What's the point?
Well, the PSG should be worried about.
Yeah, and the more we talk about it, the more you feel like PSG have got to be on top form to get past this. Still, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of neutrals may look at this and just think, oh, yeah, PSG will win that. But if they don't play to their best ability, there's a lot there that can cause an issue. Even small things like that, like Luca Dean used to play for PSG. He's a French international. Desassi has played in the Parc des Princes many times.
What the?
For Monaco, Martinez goes without saying. Other players, like Kamara as well, obviously played for Marseille for a number of years. He's more than aware of that PSG atmosphere as well. So quite a lot of that team are going to go to Paris and think, okay, yeah, I'm up for it, let's go, sort of thing. Rather than it be like, oh wow, like great atmosphere, so many fans, that sort of vibe. I
mean, that's not either what happened to Liverpool. Like, we had a great atmosphere at the Parc. That's not what happened to the Liverpool players. They didn't get absolutely raw dogged because of the atmosphere or the pressure, or they played worse. No, it was how good we were playing football, which will be the same here again. Disasi,
I don't think we're going to kind of curl up in a ball and think, let's try and hold out until that second leg at home and we can hit them with an atmosphere. It's going to be to devise a game plan and execute it. And as I say, the mentality of the players now is we have nothing to lose in the Champions League, which makes an incredibly dangerous opponent for anyone. And with that second leg at Villa Park, both quarters and semis, why would you I don't want to say bet against because everyone says it these days, but why would you sort of? Well, yeah, I guess that is the best way of saying it.
Because you don't know
I
what
don't want to sound cliche, but it is that, isn't it? Like, why would you doubt us? Why, you know, you know where I'm trying to go with it. I just think if PSG don't turn up to their full capacity, you know, they can come unstuck. And then that second game at Villa Park, who knows what's going to happen? You just you get the feeling that something, strange things have happened. So, yeah, really looking forward to it now.
Yeah, me too. We'll do an actual match preview, obviously, near the time where there's some elements of what we've discussed today. The feeling of the occasion will probably still be the same, if not heightened.
Yeah, and we'll probably react to that. We'll make another reaction video straight ahead of the PSG Aston Villa game. But shout out to the second guy. So not the first short video that we watched, the first guy, YouTube guy that we watched. That guy actually knew about PSG. That guy knew a lot of football. That guy understood everything. Still confident in his team. Still believing. He also made another video, which we'll be checking out in another video. But just the sheer arrogance, the agendas, the irrelevant points, saying PSG are probably favorites. Aston Villa maybe have been better than PSG this season because of some stat padding in the qualification rounds. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait. It was very enjoyable watching Liverpool fans being humbled. I mean, it won't even be enjoyable watching these guys because, I mean, yeah, you've already, like, this is a huge achievement for your club, reaching the quarterfinals. Congrats. And yeah, maybe you can go and win the FA Cup as well. Who knows? But like talking like this about Paris Saint Germain, just being completely disrespectful. Well, that's been it from Boy PSG, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.